Hello, coders, and welcome back to AI for the People. In this deep dive, we're going to be unpacking SmolLM2. This model is, it's really turning heads. It's striking this really interesting balance between efficiency and performance.
Yeah, what's so fascinating about SmolLM2 is that it really does pack a punch. And it does so with only 1.7 billion parameters.
Okay, so for those who haven't heard the term parameters before, could you maybe break that down for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Think of parameters like, like the knobs and dials on a machine. They kind of control how a language model understands and then generates text. So the more parameters there are, the more complex the model is. Now, 1.7 billion might sound like a lot, but compared to these huge models out there with hundreds of billions of parameters, that's actually pretty small.
So can a model this small really handle the big jobs that we need it to in real-world applications? That's the question we're going to be exploring today. Can small models do big jobs? Let's find out. What are we looking at in terms of real-world use cases here?
Well, SmolLM2 is really aimed at developers. It's got two main tools, summarize and rewrite. And as you can imagine, these are incredibly useful when you're dealing with tons of code and documentation.
Okay, so it's like having a super-powered assistant that can condense information and then rephrase it for you. Can you give me an example of how this would actually play out for a developer?
Sure, imagine you're reading through, a really dense research paper. You're trying to understand some new algorithm. Instead of spending hours trying to understand this paper, you could use SmolLM2 to give you a quick summary of the findings. You could even use it to rewrite some sections of the paper in a way that's easier to understand.
That's incredible. What a time saver. It seems like this could be a game changer for accessibility, too. Not everybody has access to top-tier hardware. So having a model that's efficient with its resources could open up a lot of new possibilities.
Absolutely. And the fact that this is coming from Hugging Face, which is a platform known for being very open source and having a great community, it adds another layer of credibility to this. They're even using SmolLM2 in their own internal tools, so they clearly have confidence in its capabilities.
Yeah, that's a compelling endorsement for sure. It sounds like SmolLM2 could be a valuable addition to any developer's toolkit, no matter what your skill level is.
And you know what's really exciting about this? It challenges the assumption that bigger is always better when it comes to AI. Sometimes a more focused tool is all you need to get the job done.
Yeah, it's like having a Swiss Army knife versus a whole toolbox. Sometimes you just need a specific tool, and SmolLM2 seems like it's perfectly designed for that. But, it is still early days. What are some of the potential downsides or limitations that we should consider?
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that because of its smaller size, small M2 might not have the same depth of knowledge as some of those massive models that have been trained on, practically the entire internet.
Right, so there might be times when it falls a little bit short, especially if you're working with very specialized or technical language.
That's a good point, but for the things it's designed to do, like summarizing code or rewriting those technical explanations, it does a really great job. And keep in mind, the Hugging Face team, they're always working on it, refining it, making it better.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about those trade-offs, right? On the one hand, we've got these massive models that can generate human quality text and tackle all these different tasks, but they need a lot of computing power. Then on the other hand, we have small of M2. It's smaller and faster, so maybe it's a better fit for some projects or for developers that don't have as much hardware available.
Exactly. It's about picking the right tool for the job. If you're trying to build a chatbot that can handle really complex conversations, small LM2 might not be the best fit. But if you need to summarize like a ton of user reviews quickly to figure out, the overall sentiment, small LM2 could be a great option.
So does this mean we're going to see more of these smaller, specialized models in the future of AI development?
I think that's a trend we're already starting to see. As AI becomes more a part of our lives, there's going to be a bigger need for these efficient, targeted solutions. Not every app needs a model that can write poems and do complex math problems. Sometimes all you need is a tool that can quickly and accurately summarize a document or generate a few lines of code.
It makes sense, right? It's like with any technology. We start with these big, all-in-one solutions, and then we figure out what we really need and we get more specialized tools.
Exactly. And that specialization leads to things being more efficient and accessible. So AI becomes even more powerful for developers. It's not about getting rid of those larger models. It's about giving developers more options, tools that are designed for specific things.
Okay, so for those listening who are thinking, okay, small M2 sounds pretty cool, but how do I actually use it? What would you suggest as a first step?
I would head over to the Hugging Face code repository. They've made it really easy to try out SmolLM2. You can find the code documentation, even pre-trained models that are ready to go.
And don't be intimidated if you've never used Hugging Face before. They've got a great community and tons of resources to help you get started.
Yeah, it's a really great platform for anybody who's interested in natural language processing, whether you're a pro or just starting out.
So where do you see the biggest potential for small M2 to have a real impact?
One area that I'm really excited about is education. Imagine students using SmolLM2 to get summaries of complex research papers, or to help them rephrase their writing so it's clearer and more concise.
Yeah, that would be huge for students who are having trouble keeping up with all the reading and writing they have to do.
Exactly, and it could make things a bit fairer for students who can't afford expensive tutors.
That's really powerful. AI is a tool that empowers people, not just something that's only available to those with lots of resources or technical skills.
Absolutely, that's something we really care about here on AI for the people. We believe that AI should be accessible to everyone, and tools like SmolLM2 are a big step in the right direction.
It's really inspiring to see these smaller, more focused models changing what's possible with AI, and at the same time making it more inclusive. It shows that innovation isn't always about building the biggest, most complicated thing. Sometimes it's about finding these elegant and efficient solutions that can actually make a difference in people's lives.
Well said. I think it's time to hear from our listeners now. We've shared our thoughts on SmolLM2, but now we want to hear what you think.
What are your first impressions?
Can you see yourself using this in your own work?
What are some creative ways you can imagine using SmolLM2 to make your coding easier or try new things in your projects?
We want to hear your thoughts, your questions, even how you might use SmolLM2.
So head over to the comments and join the conversation. We love hearing from you and learning from your experiences.
And if you're interested in more deep dives into cool AI tools like this one, be sure to subscribe to AI for the People.
We're always on the lookout for the most interesting and innovative AI tools out there.
So hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of AI discovery.
All right, that's our deep dive into SmolLM2 for today.
Until next time, keep your NLP toolkit sharp.
And remember, the beauty of AI is it's always changing.
Yeah, new tools are coming out all the time. We got to stay curious and see what's out there.
So don't be afraid to experiment, try things out, see what works for you.
And who knows, maybe you'll find the next SmolLM2.
Yeah, the next hidden gem that changes how we all work with language. So before we go, we want to leave you with one final thought.
We've talked a lot about the technical stuff with SmolLM2, how efficient it is, how fast it is, how accurate it is.
But we don't want to lose sight of the bigger picture here.
AI tools like this, they can really change how we interact with information, how we learn, how we talk to each other.
And that's pretty exciting stuff.
So as you're going about your day, writing code, reading articles, talking with people,
Think about how AI could make those things easier, more efficient, maybe even more fun.
because the future of AI isn't just about making smarter machines, it's about using those machines to help us,
To make us better at what we do.
to help us learn and grow.
To make the world a more connected place. And that's a future we're excited to be a part of. Thanks for joining us on AI for the People. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the world of AI.
See you then. And don't forget, keep your NLP toolkit sharp